Guys, this Amazon game situation with New World is absolutely crazy. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but this is like one of the best MMORPG launches that has happened in like the last 10 years. It's been freaking amazing. I think that for my money, I think that this is definitely a breath of fresh air showing what a company can do if they've been given time to polish up what was arguably a kind of rough launch, but also have time to work on a game to bring it up to speed, to have a console edition that launches and has parity with the PC version so that we have crossplay across all these different platforms. And for me, I think the game is in a good enough place now where I can look at Amazon Game Studios and say, you know what, guys? I think you've actually built a little trust with me as an end user in a way that maybe you didn't have when you first launched New World. And I'm not one of those people who disliked the launch version of the game. I had a lot of fun with New World when it first launched, but it was so rough around the edges that I didn't feel compelled to play it much beyond the original 40 hours or so that I put into it because it was rough. It needed polish. And it didn't have controller support, and that was, if you go back and watch my videos from the launch of the game, that was the one big lament from me, was it didn't have controller support. So fast forward to 24, they added controller support at the beginning of the year, and then they announced the Aeternum edition, which just came out, which launched it on the Xbox and the PlayStation while simultaneously bringing the PC version up to parity with these two. And now we have crossplay servers and 3 years of updates that everyone can play and a really bright future looking forward. And for me, what I'm really looking forward to now is what Amazon is working on with the upcoming Lord of the Rings game that they have in the pipeline, which originally was being done as something in tandem with Tencent, and then that fell apart and they moved everything in-house, and they've been since developing it from the ground up on their own. So seeing what they've done with New World and how amazing this launch is, I have to say, if they can make this work for a Middle-earth game or any game they choose to work on in the future, there's a bright future ahead for Amazon Game Studios. So let's just kind of talk a little bit more about New World Aeternum, because we have been doing a lot of streams the past few days. This is the mainstream game on my channel on YouTube and Twitch. Daily streams are at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Every single day we stream until about 3 or 4 p.m. So we usually do 6 to 7 hours, sometimes 8. And we are playing this all the way through to Dragon Age the Veilguard. As of this morning's stream, we got to level 25, actually level 26 here. I got my mount, I got my staff. I have yet to dive into dungeons, and that's one of the things we're going to be working on during the next stream, is going to be jumping in and doing one of the expeditions, which we have yet to do. And then there's a whole bunch of other activities that did not exist when the game came out that I am looking forward to diving into, because the only thing I remember from launch is expeditions and the outpost rush stuff. I don't remember. I think the raid, no, I don't think. I know the raid itself just came with New World Aeternum. That's a brand new 10-man thing. But they've also got these soul trials, which are these solo trials that you can do as an individual player, which are new. The rest of this is basically, excuse me, the same sort of stuff we saw since launch, which is a big old island full of content. But it's a highly refined, highly polished version of what originally came out 3 years ago. All the side quests have been reworked and presented in different ways. There's way more lore now. The main series quest has been completely revamped with new cinematics, narrative elements, and cutscenes, which for someone who thrives on cinematic gameplay like I do, that's a breath of fresh air, because it makes the game way more interactive for me and way more entertaining compared to the way that they did it at launch, which was mostly told through the eyes of like the notes that you were getting in the environmental storytelling, which still exists, and then the main series quest, which was interesting but not nearly as interesting as it is now. And of course, all of the things that you have options to do, like the syndicate content is still here, the settlement content is still here if you want to participate and contribute to that, the PvP content is here if you want to contribute to that, completely optional, the base harvesting and crafting is here. But what's been really impressive to me is to see the seamless nature of the launch. I've got a different video coming out which is going to talk about why I think it's one of the best launches I've seen in a long time. But essentially, you know, this went live yesterday, I don't even know. I've lost track now. We've done so many hours of gameplay over the past couple of days. The 15th, right? What is the date today? I'm gonna go look now because I don't even know what day I'm recording this on. Where's my phone? That's the one that's got the date. I'll just look over here. It's the 16th. It was yesterday. That's right. We started really early yesterday morning. We streamed for like 9 hours yesterday and like 7 hours today. It's been fun. There was 0 server outages. I didn't have any queues. The servers filled up very quickly. I know that there were some people talking about how they wish there was more servers because they weren't able to get into all the servers because of the servers being locked and full and all these other things. But that's a good sign. That means there's lots and lots of people playing the game. And I know the doom and gloomers are out there saying they're not going to stick around. They're going to bail. That's how people play games these days. We have Netflix, we have Hulu, we have Disney Plus, we have 500 games that come out every single month. We play in cyclical natures. We come, we go. If we like a game well enough, we come back and do things beyond our initial run, and we stick around for all the other activities. And there are a lot of activities in the game now, which I think is a brilliant move on their part to be able to take this 3 years of enhancements and polish and push it onto the console and come out with it and say, hey guys, here's this new game. Now for console players, it's a fresh start and everything is breathtakingly new and everything else. But for PC players, there's been, a long road to get here from there. Going from the alpha, where you still have a vocal minority who swear up and down that the forced PvP hardcore full loot stuff was the best that it could ever have been, and how dare Amazon pivot the way they did. But the data showed that that wasn't going to work, so they pivoted in alpha and released the game that I played at launch, which was a PvE-centric game that had PvP territory content that you could choose to participate in or you could opt out of, which is what I did. I never touched PvP at all my first time through the game. And then they've refined that since then, refined that down the line to where we are today, where there is still the PvP influence felt in a few places, but it's much more a PvE single-player action RPG with those drapings, if you will, wrapped around the core of it. And I think it shows that Amazon Game Studios has the ability to make equally fun PvE content and PvP content should they choose to work on something similar to New World in the future. Now, whether or not the Lord of the Rings game is going to be a PvE game or a PvP game remains to be seen, but I think this is a different thing altogether when you look at, say, Lost Ark or Throne and Liberty, which they have published as opposed to developing, because publishing is a completely different thing. They're mostly hands-off, and they're just there to sort of use their networking power to help those games do well and take a cut of those pies. But in this case, New World is something where they have worked on it, and we have seen this, like we have with many game studios who have developed their first time. And I like to think that the New World team has suffered a few bruises. They've had a few missteps along the way. They did have a bit of a rocky launch with the game. I know a lot of people try to make the claim that this game has failed somehow because it's not retaining hundreds of thousands of players. But the fact is, no game retains hundreds of thousands of players these days, with the exception of, say, Final Fantasy XIV, Elder Scrolls Online, World of Warcraft, franchises that have many entries into their titles. Other games like Lord of the Rings Online, Star Wars: The Republic are big IPs that still maintain 125 to 150,000 paying subscribers because of the fact that they are big, well-known IPs. In this case, New World is an unknown IP that just happens to come from Amazon Games, and it's something where they're building it up from the bottom, from scratch, to bring something new to the table. So, from my perspective, the situation with Amazon Game Studios is this. I applaud you on the release of New World Aeternum. It's been a flawless launch so far. I've not seen any bugs. The performance is amazing. There's a boatload of stuff to do. I'm playing on the PS5, even though I do own it on the PC, and I have played it in the past. This version of the game is much better than the launch version of the game, and I'm really excited about what the future of New World has ahead of it with this new Aeternum version. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're playing on Xbox, PS5, or PC, let me know down in the comments below. Crossplay is available. Maybe I'll meet up with some of you in an expedition or raid at some point down the line. Daily streams, 9 a.m. Mountain on YouTube and Twitch. See you in the next one, everybody. Stay safe. Happy gaming.